The members are present. I will call to order the August 7th, 2024 meeting of the City of West Sacramento City Council, the West Sacramento Redevelopment Agency, and Finance Authority. We will begin with the land acknowledgement. We would like to acknowledge that the land on which we live, work, learn, and commune is the original homelands of the indigenous people of West Sacramento, who have stewarded this land throughout the generations. We acknowledge and we thank the original inhabitants who have occupied, maintained, and secured this place, and who still exist on this land. We respect and celebrate the many diverse indigenous peoples still connected to this land on which we gather. Council met in closed session this evening. Mr. City Attorney, would you please provide a report?
The council took no reportable action.
Right. We would like to invite our guests to join council and staff in the pledge, which will be led by Mr. Manny Ramirez. Please come to the podium and lead us in a Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
To the republic
for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Ramirez. As is noted on our agenda, City Council is prohibited by state law from discussing or taking any action on items that are brought up under item 1 for public comment, but it provides an important opportunity for a public forum. The public is given an opportunity at this time to address City Council on issues not listed on the agenda. We do ask anyone wishing to address the council on this or speak on any other item, get a request to speak card and return it to the clerk. And the clerk will accept the request to speak cards up to the conclusion of the reading of the staff report on any particular agenda item. There is no agenda other than the consent agenda and then future items for consideration. And even under future items for consideration, we request for anyone wishing to speak at this time to get a request to speak card and put agenda item 12 if you would like to speak. I believe that there are people here who would like to speak. Please fill out a request to speak card, and I believe it's agenda item 12, and hand it over to the clerk. So from there, once we have that staff report been read, we open the item up for public comment, and the clerk will announce your name for you to walk up to the podium to speak. Now, in front of the clerk, there is a timer to ensure that everyone has had a chance to be heard. We ask that all comments be limited to the specified number of minutes. Also, in front of the clerk is an analog flip chart which indicates which agenda item the council is currently considering. We also recognize that for some, speaking in public can cause anxiety, so we request that there be no applause or boos, catcalls, or other demonstrations. Furthermore, so that we may maintain a civil discourse here in the chambers, we ask that those in attendance and those who address the City Council abide by the code of conduct posted and not speak in loud, threatening, offensive, abusive, or other disrespectful language that disrupts, disturbs, or otherwise impedes the orderly conduct of the meeting. And today we have 2 council members absent, Mayor Pro Tem Early and Council Member Orozco, and there are 3 council members to make the decisions that are on today's agenda. Now this brings us to item 1, presentations by the public on matters not on the agenda within the jurisdiction of the council, and each person has 30 minutes to speak. And so, Madam Clerk, are there any requests to speak under public comment?
Yes, ma'am. Guy Stevenson.
This is an issue that I probably addressed hundreds of times here. And this is my concern. You got the A's coming here, you're building more houses, you're buying more properties. My concern is public safety. I think that the city, because we got what, 9 months? 9 months until the A's get here. So you're gonna get all these people coming to the city of West Sacramento, which is a beautiful city, but the police and fire, I don't want them to get fatigued. I don't want them to get stressed, because then they get burned out. What happens when you have a burned out cop? It affects their health and their family and everything. And it is a concern for me. I've traveled to a place the other day, and it's totally different. It was Mountain House, which is on the other side of Tracy, beautiful city. And my thing about it is, it's important to me. Because both my kids want a lateral over here from SAC, but they will not do it now because of the fact that, you know, they're politics over here. That's all I'm gonna say. I want to see you do more for the fire department and the police department and some of these other city agencies here, because you're growing. You can't keep up with the calls. You know, you got cops. I've talked to a few cops over here that are stressed, that are fatigued. I don't want to see that happen because it's not good for their health. And you being a social worker, Madam Mayor, you see that. And then people are going to say, I'm not going to get burned out. I'm not going to get stressed out. I'll just leave the West Sacramento and go to another agency. I don't want that. I want these people to stay here and be happy here. And I've been a resident from West Sac for a little over 5 years. But I've seen some changes that you people have done, and they've been good changes. But I think that there needs to be focus on the fire department and the police department. I'm not saying to, you know, to give them these huge raises, but you need to do more for them so they don't get stressed out and they don't go to another agency. Because this is a good city and it's growing, and you got good leadership. I've talked to Karina. She's excellent city council member, and so are you. You did the P-bids, you know, and SAC, and you guys are seasoned. You know what's going on. So please, I'm just asking you to do more for the police department and the fire department before the A's get here, because you're going to have all kinds of issues coming over here. Thank you very much, and God bless to all of you.
Hussein?
Hello, Madam Mayor, City Council members. My name's Hussein. I'm a coach with West Sacramento Soccer Club. I'm also a board member. We offer recreational and competitive play for players in the city. I just wanted to invite all of you to our second annual Kickathon, and anyone who's present this Saturday from 11 to 2 p.m. We're organizing for competitive teams. Last year, we made, I think, just over 10,000, and we've already beaten that this year. But even if you don't come to donate, it'll be fun. There'll be prizes, there'll be food, there'll be drink. You'll get to dunk coaches. If you want to dunk me, you'll get to dunk me if you hit the target. And I just wanted to add that our organization's a 501c3 nonprofit. All the proceeds go back to our teams in the form of scholarships, financial aid, equipment. And I also wanted to thank you and also Councilmember Orozco for contributing to 2 of our teams, helping us to get, I think those teams are getting practice jerseys. So appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, information about the event is on our website, West Sac Comp Soccer. I also sent an email to the clerk to forward as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Latino Information and Resource Center?
Madam Mayor, council members, staff, and most importantly, residents of West Sacramento and everyone here today. Good evening. My name is Maria Grijalva. I am the founder and director of the Latino Information and Resource Center, a civil rights advocacy organization. I wanted to introduce myself for those that might not be familiar with my work or our work. We are the nonprofit organization that brought back district elections to the city of West Sacramento and to the school board. As many of you may know, our former mayor got rid of district elections years ago by passing a resolution that adopted a Jim Crow voting system. We challenged that voting system and we won in court. You know, representation matters. In less than 100 days, the residents of District 2 will select for the first time their own representative, and of course, whether to add another sales tax to their budget. Why do we need to raise our taxes, I question, when we are already paying enough taxes when we do online purchases? In fact, our port generates over $1 million a year in revenue. It's obvious that the city residents are not benefiting from these funds. On the other hand, District 2 has a wonderful leader named Tim Campbell. He's our union president at the port. He's a genuine leader that cares about others. And in District 2, we need someone like Tim Campbell to be at City Council because he will help expedite our pull because we've been waiting for a pull for quite some time. So we brought district elections to West Sacramento so local folks and local leaders like Tim Campbell could afford to run for public office without having to mortgage their home. So I want to thank him for stepping up to the plate. And so it's my hope today to remind everyone the importance about civic engagement and why we have district elections. And so thank you for this opportunity to speak.
Robin Davis.
Hello, I'm Robin, and I live in my 160 square foot semi-off-grid tiny home on wheels on my undeveloped residential property here in West Sacramento. YIMBY Law just launched a housing element dashboard to track compliance and housing production of local governments in California. This dashboard states if West Sacramento repeats its efforts from the previous cycle, it will only meet 45% of the identified need. We have only built 1.1 of the 9.5 thousand housing units needed by 2029. Majority of what we have built since 2021 is above medium income levels. Only 10% of what we are building meets the state's affordability threshold criteria. So how many more dilapidated motels is the city going to need to buy over market value that is not going to result in any affordable permanent housing units? Because according to the previous housing element cycle, affordable housing funds could qualify to acquire such properties, and none of them were made available for permanent full-time living. And when that program funding ran out, we decided it was easier to tear down a motel instead because of the unsafe conditions and the crime increase. What problems are we trying to solve here? This is not a sustainable model, and only a very small percent of home key and room key recipients ever transition into permanent housing. We use funds that were deemed to supply more housing. We paid over asking price to acquire these motels, yet no permanent housing was created. Policy changes to allow tiny homes on wheels can introduce more housing immediately in backyards, on remnant lots, those small end lots we have throughout our neighborhoods, on city-owned lots, and lots like mine with protected oak trees that are otherwise not buildable. Policy changes that could have been put into play 3 years ago at the start of this previous cycle could have been contributing to increased density without sprawl and also without adding more 3,000 unit complexes where the impacts to our existing infrastructure like our roads, schools, law enforcement, our fragile PG&E power grid would not be so heavily impacted. Pro-housing funds that were used to improve parking structures could have otherwise been used to partner with construction schools and programs, third-party inspectors to build small homes on wheels and brought to a site, purchased or rented by someone for long-term living, not voucher living. I'm not still here because I enjoy being annoying. I am here because there needs to be another way. Almost 4 years later, I'm still here because the data doesn't lie. So with that, please join our West Sacramento Tiny Homes Facebook group for more information and check out our petition to legalize tiny homes on wheels at the state level. Thank you.
Thank you.
Maria Garcia.
Hola, buenas tardes. Mi nombre es María García. Voy a hablar en español porque mi inglés no está muy bueno. Y represento al Comité de Padres de Familia de las escuelas, pero también de aquí de la ciudad. Mi comentario es acerca de todas las promesas aún no cumplidas. Ejemplo, el swimming pool especialmente cuántos años tenemos que seguir esperando para que nos puedan hacer nuestro swimming pool en el área norte de West Sacramento. Parques y carreteras en malas condiciones y el tiempo de lluvia ya viene en camino, y con la lluvia más carreteras en mal estado, llenas de hoyo en la parte norte de West Sacramento. Las votaciones vienen en camino y sinceramente muchas de las cosas que hemos notado es de que no se están haciendo muchas cosas, especialmente en el área norte de West Sacramento. Necesitamos nuestras banquetas. Es urgente, nuestra gente necesita caminar seguros por las calles. Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias, Maria. And I just wanted to repeat what she said. Hopefully I provide everything. That the concern around the parks were raised, and making sure that as the weather changes, the winter comes, you know, it's going to probably get worse. And there's a lot of holes in the grassy areas and places where children play. Also needing sidewalks, safe places for people to walk and commute by foot along in the north area. And so those were the concerns that Maria raised.
We have
Oh,
no,
and the pool. I was going to mention, yes, and she also mentioned the pool.
we have no additional requests to speak.
Thank you. And next, we have agenda item number 2 is a presentation of a city proclamation honoring the River City Tigers for winning the 2024 California Football Conference Association Championship. Congratulations. And I'm going to be reading the proclamation first, and then I'll be mentioning some names. If those names, can you please raise your hand when I mention the name so people can recognize who you are as referenced in the proclamation. And then I'll have speakers to come in and speak if you'd like. And from there, we will have council members provide their thoughts and expressions of, you know, congratulations. And we'll go down and take a picture with all of you down below, okay? So this is the proclamation of the City Council, City of West Sacramento, honoring the River City Tigers football team. Whereas the River City Tigers football team, consisting of 75 dedicated players, has demonstrated exceptional athleticism, dedication, and teamwork throughout the 2024 season while playing home games at River City High School Stadium. Whereas the River City Tigers have achieved an outstanding record of 11 wins and 1 loss, showcasing their skill, perseverance, and sportsmanship on and off the field. And whereas the River City Tigers secured the championship title in the California Football Conference Association with a dominant performance, shutting out the North Bay Rattlers 21-0 lead. And whereas the River City Tigers defense was formidable, allowing only 77 points throughout the season and contributing significantly to their success. And whereas standout players such as quarterback Ace Boogie, who passed for 1,199 yards and 22 touchdowns, and running back Howard Warren, he's not here, who rushed for 635 yards and scored 9 touchdowns, have led them to victory. And whereas the leadership of owners Manny Ramirez and Jose Villanueva, along with head coach Derek Watkins, and the dedication of the coaching staff has been instrumental in the development and success of the players, fostering an environment of growth and achievement. And whereas the support and enthusiasm of team volunteers, fans, players, families, and community leaders, members have played a vital role in the team's success, creating an atmosphere of encouragement and unity at the River City High Stadium. And whereas the River City Tigers have made significant contributions to the community through charitable events, including hosting a youth football camp in March 2023, a turkey drive in November 2023, and a Toys for Tots football game in December 2023. And now therefore be it proclaimed that the City of West Sacramento and the City Council hereby recognize and commends the River City Tigers football team for their outstanding achievements and championship season. Congratulations to you. If anybody from the team would like to come up and speak for a few, share a few words, just tell us how your sweat and tears got you to where you're at.
Of course. I appreciate it. Thank you. Good evening. It is truly an honor to accept this award on behalf of the River City Tigers. My name is Manny Ramirez. I'm the founder and co-owner of this incredible team. Alongside my business partner, Jose Villanueva, Derek Ross Watkins, we established the team in 2022. We are now completing our third year. Despite the challenges and obstacles we face, we never wavered in our determination to achieve our goals after facing disappointment in the playoffs for 2 consecutive years. We continue to work hard and push ourselves to improve. Our coaches and players showed tremendous dedication and commitment. Embracing our motto of accountability and teamwork, through difficult conversations and challenges, we pushed each other to become better, both on and off the field. I am thrilled to announce that our hard work and dedication have paid off, as we are now the 2024 CFCA champions. This is a... Thank you. This is a victory and a testament to the resilience and unity of our team. But our mission goes beyond football. We are deeply committed to giving back to our community and making a positive impact. Through various charity events such as our free youth football camp, turkey drive, and Toys for Tots charity football game, we have been able to support and uplift those in need. These events have allowed us to train and feed over 250 kids, provide 65 families with Thanksgiving dinner, and offer Christmas gifts to 25 families in need. We are passionate about what we do, and we'll continue to serve as a positive outlet for our community. Thank you for the recognition and support. Together, we can continue to make a difference. I would like to give a big special thanks to my fiancée, Julia Granados, who is my biggest support during my weakest moments. My mom, Elena Garcia, for putting on all our charity events. Shane Thomas, who was also our snack bar. He ran all of our snack bar, so I got to give a big special thanks to him.
Yes,
Even though I've never met Miss Elaine Stahl, we have worked side by side, continue to work to get the football games organized and scheduled. And Tiffany Palke for scheduling and coordinating all football games. Richard Andrade for announcing outstanding games, and then also all of our coaching staff and our water boy, Xavier Ramirez, and of course, Kai Dawkins. We definitely want to give a big shout out to the city of West Sacramento for opening their arms and with generous and courteous proclamation award. We appreciate it. Thank you. Go Tigers.
Now, I'd like to open it up to council members.
Thank you. Well, first of all, congratulations on this incredible achievement. I just read your scores, 11 wins and only 1 loss. Wow, that is incredible. Also, thank you for all your charity work. That means a lot to this community. We have a lot of folks that, go without, and your helping makes all the difference. One more thanks for putting West Sacramento on the map.
Councilmember Cepizio Hall.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Congratulations. What I think is phenomenal is that there are 75 folks on the team, plus like the full volunteer crew behind you. And then on top of that, you've got your family supporting you. These aren't full-time jobs. You guys get to do this in addition to having families and having jobs and having all the other commitments of life. And so just to see you commit to something you love that I know is bringing you so much joy, and then to take it to the championship and win, congratulations. It's just incredibly exciting. And, echo my colleague statements about the community work you do. That's above and beyond. So just congratulations. Thank you for being here tonight. And then we look forward to another successful season.
All I can say is I'm so impressed, with your dedication as I was out there in the football field during the heat, very hot weather. All of you were all just super pumped, for that victory. The focus you all had, just in the unity you had and shared with one another for that score. And I just loved sitting out there and watching you play and seeing you, score those touchdowns, cheering you on, and seeing, just being among you and your family members, just, seeing that it is possible to get the trophy, to win. And this, the fact that you put your own money, your own, resources for this team to grow it, to be who they are today. And on top of that, as you heard from the council members, give back to the community for those in need. Because you know where you all came from. You know where the gaps are. You know firsthand, the struggles you've been through. And it is out of your heart, out of, your dedication, not only to each other, but back to the community to see us grow healthy and strong. So thank you so much for, helping our youth to find a future in football and any other activity that they desire. Just giving them some hope and giving, joy to all the little children and food on the table so that they feel, happier during the holiday season. We greatly appreciate what you do and what you have brought a pride to West Sacramento for this incredible trophy. So congratulations and thank you. So we're going to go down to the photo. We'll move these up. Quickly for the next few agenda items. Next is our consent agenda items 2 through 10. Are there any requests to remove an item for a question or a presentation by administration on the consent agenda? Oh, not, I'll accept a motion to approve. So moved.
I'll second.
Okay. Councilmember Alcala moved and Councilmember Cepizio Hall seconded. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Sulpicio Hull.
Aye.
Councilmember Alcala.
Aye.
Mayor Guerrero.
Aye. All right, consent is approved. Next, we'll go to our general administration function part 2. Do we have any reports from our council assignments? None.
Not this.
Council calendar update?
Tonight.
City manager report?
No report tonight, thank you.
City attorney report?
Nothing to report.
All right. And no staff direction. We do have a future agenda item request, and it is a request I submitted. Put in writing some background as to why I'm requesting it. And, I would like to also have council give us a little more direction on the kind of communication we get, or discussion. If we're going out of line here, can you just jump in and tell us time out? And so this agenda item that I'm submitting forward is as a result of hearing from residents on the crisis that they are experiencing from having to pay $800,000 on their monthly utility bill. And we currently have PG&E, Pacific Gas and Electric, as our utility company, and we've had some experience working with Valley Clean Energy. I didn't have the direct experience, but I know my predecessors have. And for whatever reason, we were on the board, and then we got off, and we just haven't followed up with Valley Clean Energy directly. And as a League of Cities, first vice president, I received a presentation with Pioneer Community Energy, who, I was very intrigued by their presentation. And then I had a meeting with them, and in that meeting, there was a description of the process, and that's the process that I'm presenting here, which is just a request for a future agenda item, to request it to be placed on the agenda. We can't discuss it here today, but it is an opportunity to discuss it. In the conversation with the city manager after this request was submitted was more information that I gained from the city manager about some work being done. This is, as you can see, our strategic plan retreat. We put together what our priorities are, and this is an item that is a priority, taking a look at our energy use. It's always been a priority since we tried to annex SMUD. And reason why we don't have SMUD, because it requires a vote. It requires a vote, which we tried in the past, failed. We tried again in discussions once I became mayor, because I wanted to see what we can do to reduce our rates. And it requires, in order for that to move forward, an agreement with SMUD, which we could not get to move forward on annexing SMUD as our utility company. As much as we'd love to have those rates, they need to come to an agreement as the process proceeds at the local and state level. And then we took a look at some opportunities where we saw other jurisdictions looking at some loopholes. We didn't see that as a feasible option for West Sacramento. So taking a look at Pioneer, I wanted to ask for council to take a look at what options are being presented, to allow the city manager to share what I heard here in public. And that's the other reason, is because we are receiving, I think you all are receiving, concerns from the community about the PG&E rates. And if we don't get started on the dialogue now, it takes years for this transition to happen. Even if it was Pioneer, it takes years. So we can't solve the problem today, but what we can do is start the dialogue and be, engaging with public on what choices we have. And I know that it was great to hear from the city manager that there are some additional options. I believe we have members of the public here interested in sharing what other options we have, and members of the community who want to express concerns, but also, give us some guidance. So, we haven't drawn any conclusions on this agenda item. We would like to hear what options are available for people that are interested here.
Just to be clear, this is a consideration by the council for placing a future item on the agenda. So I think what I'd recommend procedurally, normally what we do is have the person who's proposing it give an intro and then have a little council discussion. We do take public comment on it, but always appreciate the chance to weigh in as well. So
Thank you.
however you want to proceed. I
Absolutely.
would say probably some
Does anybody else, would anybody
council
like to hear the
first.
city manager first, or?
Well, I was under the impression that staff had already been working on an energy study to look at our options, and so I wanted to check in on that, and with the timeline of that, and if that could possibly come back with options that include Pioneer Energy for the conversation.
Yeah, so just to give a quick update on that, and this item obviously came to us from the mayor as kind of looking at one option, which is joining a CCA. There are a number of CCAs out there, including one in our backyard, VCE. You mentioned that we had previously been an associate member. However, that was purely based on an effort to acquire PG&E assets that with the hopes of actually kind of taking over as the utility. That didn't pan out at that time, but we were working with VCA at that time. We do have a relationship with them. Obviously, our fellow cities in Yolo County are members. We actually are funding with the other cities right now a study to look at the basic concept is forming a municipal utility that would function over vacant areas as a starting point. So that study is underway right now. I got an update from the VCE director just the other day that they expect to have it done later into the fall, probably around September or so. We'll need some time to digest that. We would like to, since the mayor brought this up with Pioneer Energy, at least take a look at that and other CCA options. And also, I think you mentioned SMUD. You talked about some of the history, and I just want to say there's a lot of history when it comes to SMUD in Yolo County and West Sacramento. There was obviously the time back in the mid-2000s when there was an effort to annex into SMUD throughout the county, which, as you mentioned, failed because of the vote. However, the regulatory environment, the steps that are required, the economics of it are far more complex than just a voting issue. And I think, we did revisit that with SMUD more recently. And it's probably worth including that information in a more comprehensive workshop. So I think that's what I would recommend is we bring back later this fall, once the VCE study is done, a summary of that, along with an analysis by staff on more into the CCA, industry and options that you have there. And then also more background on the history of the attempts at SMUD annexation, what that actually looks like as a process. Because I think there's a lot of kind of assumptions out there in the public, understandably, that, hey, that's a no-brainer, let's just go do that. And it is much more complicated than that. And it's something the city has tried a few times. So I would package that all up into one workshop and give us some time to put that together and then bring that back to you later this fall. But obviously, you have public comment tonight. It's fine to take public comment, but that would be my recommendation for bringing back the item.
So, may I say something? Thank you. First, I want to thank you, Mayor, for bringing this up because we have received numerous emails. I got phone calls as well over PG&E's. They're making record profits right now, and yet they're still increasing our bill. The PUC allowed them to increase our rates. So this is a discussion I know the whole community is interested in. So I'm very anxious to hear what the public has to say. So I know it's affecting a lot of people.
And one other comment I just want to say, is you sort of prompted me to think of this as well. It's not as if this is a local issue. This is an issue throughout really California, but especially in PG&E territory. I think there is also a bit of information I'd like to include in that workshop on what's happening or thoughts on what could happen at the state level to give the council some tools to be able to work with other jurisdictions and other stakeholders to hopefully, push something that's bigger than just a West Sacramento solution to this issue, because it really is something that needs statewide attention. So that would be
And
another
on that
component.
note, Mr. City Manager, thank you, because when I did propose this days later, not that I had any idea this was going on, I read an article that the governor is going to take a look at finding ways to, through the legislature, some proposals, which this is the last month of legislative session, and perhaps they can put something in, package it. I think either way, it's not going to be a significant reduction in our utility rates, but what we're looking for is relief. My goal is to take a look at reducing the cost of our utility rates, especially those which I will post on my website and will ask it. City staff, find a way to share what PG&E, does have to offer for those that qualify, that are low income. And if you haven't applied, I'm going to put it on my Facebook page, ways to reduce your rates if you qualify. So I appreciate that PG&E, I don't know why our doors are locked from the public, but thank you. So ways to, be able to find, apply to see if you do qualify today. But for now, in taking a look at, this opportunity, but also after recommending, Pioneer, receiving much more information, and I did solicit, feedback from the community. Thank you to our County Board of Supervisor Representative Lucas Frericks, who's sitting in the audience. I am honored that you're here. Thank you, that you're present and interested in sharing with us. I read your note about the open, invitation, and Councilmember Jesse Lauren, because you are participants of VCE, and I have not had direct communication. I have worked with staff who I believed were in direct communication in the past, and it didn't seem like an option. So, willing to work on, finding. This is not, I think this process is about options, exploring every option, and exploring every option that helps helps those that are interested. What I did find was a lot of misinformation in the public forum. What I'm trying to bring is what the city manager is proposing, bringing back more information, a workshop. We may not meet the timeline that Pioneer Community Energy is suggesting, but I do want to explore all options and figure out what opportunities, including as a constituent raised, our own, CCE for West Sacramento. I know that, several constituents were interested in that. So what I also want in the workshop is a citywide solution. I did hear district, but I do want a citywide solution for all the ratepayers, not just a specific area.
Okay, I think that's probably, I think we got enough there to kind of capture what the item would be. So what I would suggest is, I believe we have public comment on this item, so
Okay, and then
I would recommend taking that, and then just we'll do a quick poll at the end to make sure the council consensus is there to bring this back
Madam
in the
Clerk?
fall.
All right, we'll open it up for public comment, Madam.
Renee Calvin.
Hello, Madam Mayor. My name is Renee Calvin, and I'm born and raised here in West Sacramento. And my mother moved here from La Crosse, Wisconsin in 1958, and at 18 and got a job at the state capitol. Worked 50 years in the Assembly and the Senate. Unfortunately or fortunately, I followed in her footsteps. And I've been a Senate Sergeant of Arms for 35 years. And in fact, we both have former bosses, Hilda Solis and Sheila Kuehl. I thought you might like to know that.
I love that, thank you.
Okay, and I love them. And the good thing about that comes into what I have to share with the board. I also respect the city councilwoman here, and I have to say that Miss Akala I have known my whole entire life. Her family, her sister worked in the Senate. Of course, I love you. And I need to tell you also, Mayor, that I did everything I could to get as many votes as I could for you. Because as a Latina woman and somebody that worked for Hilda, I felt in my heart I had to do everything I possibly could do. But unfortunately, something horrific happened. My mother now is 85 years old with dementia. This woman has given everything she can to West Sacramento. My brother owns River Rat Rafting Company, very famous. If you're eating an orange or a mandarin or an almond, most likely you're eating from my sister. Let's see, we have families now that will do everything they can to put their parents in a convalescent hospital. And it doesn't matter how much money you have, they want more and more and more. So I had to fight my family. I had to fight my neighbors, and unfortunately had to then fight the police department about saving my mother from going to a convalescent hospital. Now, there's nothing more important to me than my mother. I grew up with her. She was a young mother, and then I grew up with her working in the Senate. Now, I don't know if anybody's ever worked with their mother in a position like that. It's not real fun because I wanted to own my own merits, not get in there for my mother's merits. So the good fortunate thing is I went under a different name, she had a different name, and I went and worked for Nancy Pelosi first. And I put in the hard work. And I don't have to tell you about Nancy Pelosi and how hard she works because she made me work that hard. And so I didn't have days off. And as a Senate Sergeant of Arms, we're on duty 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. I don't care if I'm on vacation in Hawaii. If they need me, I have to get on a plane and come home. So there's not much I wouldn't do for this city because I love it. I eat, live, and breathe the law. West Sacramento Police Department is named after my brother, James McKnight. And he died in 1990. He went to McGeorge Law School because he saw corruption coming. And so his agenda was to graduate from McGeorge Law School and then become a judge. Because that man ate and lived and breathed the law just like I do. And I have the passion he has. So to lose him in 1990 was extremely difficult. I'm not going to lose my mother to a convalescent hospital, but unfortunately, my neighbors, well, let's just say I live in a cul-de-sac full of very powerful people who have a lot of money. And they're Democrats just like me, yet we think totally different. And these are the people that kept continuously calling the police and saying that I tied my mother to the bed and didn't feed her. Now, her family lived with me. And that's something, if anybody knows the character I have, if you called Hilda Solis or Sheila Kuehl, they would write you a letter or they would talk to you on the phone today and tell you. That's not who I am. But who I am is materialism doesn't mean anything to me. My mother is my rock. So 27 times in 6 months, I had the police department come to my house to check to see if my mother's tied to a bed and that I'm starving her and beating her.
Ms. Calvin?
Yes.
I was wondering, is this related to agenda item 12?
No, and we had an issue. I didn't appropriately put that, so this was in the initial beginning.
I see.
But I got put under a different category and then told the officer, no, this was not agenda 12.
Oh, I see.
But this is
Okay.
extremely important, Mayor.
It is. It is.
And because
I'm
what
hearing that.
happened is so severe. And I tried everything in my power to resolve it without taking legal recourse. When you understand my story,
Yes.
when you have somebody come in 6 months, 27 times, that becomes stalking and harassment. That's no longer, when you're allowed to come in my house and look that my mother's right there and she looks beautiful and she's a tiny little lady, but she's still smart. You know, she was the chief of staff for Willie Brown, the chief of staff for Barbara Lee. She was a director caucus chairwoman.
Right.
She has done it all. And so she's not going to convalescent hospital. And so my family went after her also.
Oh, I see.
And
And Ms. Calvin?
can I just tell you that I had 2 home invasions prior to that. And in my job, I only had to use my ability to fight, to save members' lives twice.
Yes,
I had to
it's
fight
tragic.
home invasion people breaking into my house in the middle of the day. Now, I had a sergeant of the police department come with a social worker to my
see.
house.
You know, the police chief is right outside.
Yes,
be
I know
able
him
to-
quite well.
You do?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Because he was a lieutenant,
Oh,
and he was also with my brother James when he died.
oh.
Okay, so I'm not trying to prolong this. I just want to tell you what happened, if that's okay.
You've gone over time, and we do have, this is agenda item 12, so we are only, so I get that you are using this time.
I was beaten by your sergeant. He broke my leg, crushed it, every bone. And I ended up in intensive care for 9 days ready to do open heart surgery. Last week, I was in a hit and run on Jefferson Boulevard by River City High School. I wasn't going to let this guy go. He went into the homes. I followed him, and I backed off the speed because he was doing 120 miles an hour. He pulls over. I get out to tell him, you just hit me in the back of my car. The UPS driver's right across the street, right parked. He gets out of the car, and then he jumps in his car, and he turns around like he's going to run me over the street, and the UPS driver, the hero, jumps out and tries to protect me. The ambulance come, the police called, because she called the police. 7 officers came out there last week. 7. EMTs, fire department, everything. The guy's from China, doesn't speak English, and he has Amazon.com packages in his car.
All right. Ms.
Okay,
Calvin,
so-
can you wrap it up at this point? We're gonna have to have you wrap up. It's 3 minutes per person for public comment.
I will come in with friends, and I will have them all sign their cards over to me. Is that going to be acceptable?
I don't know who said that. They're not allowed to say that. I'm sorry. There's no interruption.
In the Senate, we would take them out of here. I'm just saying.
Right, but if you, you've had 3 minutes and a lot of additional time. Even under public comment, the additional time is not permitted.
Okay, at this point, I'll have Kamala Harris call you. Does that work?
Thank you.
Jesse Lorna?
Good evening.
Evening.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, staff, and residents. My name is Jessie Lauren. I serve on Winters City Council, and I wasn't here to say this, but wow, your dais is far more beautiful than ours and a lot newer. It's really impressive. But anyway, I serve on Winters City Council, and I also serve on the board of Valley Clean Energy. So I have a written statement I'd like to make, but I just want to mention that Winters wanted to change our energy provider to SMUD some years ago, and we did go through the ballot experience. But in recent days, I've asked SMUD, we'd really like to do that again. And not only is it a ballot process, but they have to have an appetite to grow. And that is not something that they've expressed that they have at this time. So even though they're far more attractive, they might not want to grow into West Sac. So you have to consider that. Well, anyway, I serve on Valley Clean Energy. I serve with many other members of your dais on various regional boards. Yolo County is definitely has a reputation of being collaborative, respectful of having what's called the YOLO way. So with that spirit, I just want to say that Valley Clean Energy opened the door to West Sac in 2017. West Sacramento and Winters were both associate members in 2019 and 2020. And your mayor, prior mayor Christopher Cabalden, decided to take a wait and see from where we were at that time. Winters joined. Winters has enjoyed having lower energy costs. And I just wanted to mention that there's always been an open door to West Sacramento. I know that we have spoken about it in the past, but not being, a representative of PG&E, just kind of a friend. But Valley Clean Energy was created to create or provide cleaner, more affordable energy to our county and to provide an opportunity for local control in energy decisions. It's not an IOU like PG&E. So I wanted to bring all that up. I have 30 seconds. Last thing, I sent you an article today. The CPUC is where pressure needs to be put at this time, especially because PG&E wants to expand at Diablo. But I sent you the article. You could look into it. I think that's my time. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Lucas Fredericks?
Advisor, welcome.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and council members and staff. While I'm, a member of the Board of Supervisors, I'm here tonight in my role as a member of the Board of Valley Clean Energy as well. As you will recall, Valley Clean Energy is our local, clean energy provider here in Yolo County. Obviously, members of our JPA, Joint Powers Authority, include the cities of Woodland and Winters and Davis, as well as Yolo County. We currently have rates that are lower than PG&E. I think that your points around rates are really important and valid. We would all, I think, ultimately love to have a municipal utility such as SMUD. It's amazing that they have rates 40% lower, literally across the river, than we do here in Yolo County. And so obviously we all want to work on that together, certainly. West Sacramento, as my colleague just said, Jesse Lauren, West Sacramento has had an invitation to sort of consider adjoining since 2017. It was obviously an associate member during the time that we had looked at the purchase of the PG&E assets here in Yolo County during PG&E's bankruptcy back in 2019 and 2020. I think it's important to note, though, that the open invitation has existed over this entire time. That open invitation still exists. So if you hadn't heard it, it does exist, and definitely happy to have further conversations with you all. And there are already collaborations happening between the cities and VCE, including West Sacramento. I think, we do have a really strong reputation here in Yolo of working collaboratively across all our public agencies on other issues, transportation issues, Yolo Bus, Yolo Solano Air Quality Management District, SACOG, all, Sacramento Area Council of Governments, all these different agencies, we all work collaboratively together. That track record exists. I don't see why we wouldn't want to continue that same kind of collaborative track record. In the end of this process, Valley Clean Energy may not be the right fit for your community, but my respectful request to you is that in your exploration of options, you will provide Valley Clean Energy an opportunity to be considered and not sort of pursue just a sole source process of examination of Pioneer Community Energy alone. Great entity, great organization in another part of our region, but also really think that having only one option is not really an option. So thank you again so much for your service. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Supervisor.
Mitch Sears.
Mitch Sears, good evening. I'm the Executive Officer for Valley Clean Energy.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. And I don't want to repeat what my board members just talked about, but I do want to emphasize the point that you're making, Mayor, which is there is an issue. There's a large issue in California around rates. And what community choice aggregators attempt to do is try to find the balance between providing renewable energy resources to local communities and providing that cost competitive rate. That's something that Valley Clean Energy has done since we launched in 2018. So we're entering into our 6th year of operation. I would also say that I appreciate the City Council for bringing this forward because this is an important decision to be made. One of the things that CCAs do and do well, and I will look back at my counterpart at Pioneer, we work collaboratively together. He and I serve on the board of directors for CalCCA, which is the statewide association. And what we're trying to do together is trying to raise the energy literacy of California and trying to understand how we give voice at the local level. That's true of every CCA. And so when there's an opportunity, if there is an opportunity for VCE to engage and to provide more information about what our services offer, we're happy to do that. So thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sears.
Don Eckert.
Thank you for the invitation. I'm Don Eckert with Pioneer Community Energy. And so to the point about SMUD, we're in Rockland. We deal with the same issue where they want to join Roseville Electric. And the problem is PG&E is not selling the system because that's how they make their rate of return is on the poles and the wires. The other part of it is they did a study, not by PG&E, but they did their own study, and it was going to be about $500 million to purchase the system for a city of around 80,000. Why I think CCA should be an option is you can be for less than $15,000, you can have control of 40% of the bill versus $500 million for 60% of the bill. So I do think CCA should be an option. And then as far as which CCA, I will point out my colleague from Valley Clean Energy, they run an excellent operation. It's not a matter of there's a good or a bad CCA. It's just what's the best fit. I'll just mention our three main priorities at Pioneer. We believe that there is a climate crisis going on, and that is very much what CCAs in the Bay Area focus on. It's very valid, but over here, there's a different crisis going on between paying your utility bill or buying groceries. And we believe that we can't solve the problem entirely, but we can help. So at Pioneer, our number one priority is ratepayer savings compared to PG&E. That is what we focus on in every decision. We have saved our ratepayers $108 million since we launched in 2018 till the end of 2024. Our priority number two is local investment. We look to buy power in the service territory that we're at. So we have 2 biomass plants we're looking at in Grass Valley and Lincoln. I have $40 million in purchases from El Dorado Irrigation District, $10 million plus from Placer County, and we have 40,000 solar customers that I pay about $1 million a year to in their net generation. And the third priority is programs to improve our customers' lives. Right now, we're in 10 days launching a program that will give folks a solar system plus battery, keeps the lights on when the grid goes down, and it stabilizes their rates for the next 20 years. That's helping our customers. If those priorities line up with West Sacramento, we'd love to be part of that conversation in the future. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.
Alice Dowden Clavillo.
Councilwoman, welcome. Welcome to West Sacramento Chambers.
Yes, thank you very much, Madam Mayor and council members. My name is Alice Dowden Calvillo. I'm on the Auburn City Council, but I'm also chair of Pioneer Community Energy. I'm in my third term as chair of RCCA, and I'm here at the invitation of Madam Mayor. We serve together with League of Cities on the board of directors for the Sacramento Valley Division, and she and I have been talking about Pioneer. I'm very passionate about Pioneer Community Energy and our rate savings, and so that's kind of how the conversation went. You know, we're able to provide $85 million so far to date in rate savings for our customers. We're in expansion mode and all these great things. And then we had a meeting for our division, and Pioneer was a sponsor and gave a presentation. And so that sort of also spawned that discussion. So that's kind of why Pioneer is here, because clean energy, this is your backyard, and we're certainly not trying to step on their toes by any means. But our particular Pioneer, as our CEO mentioned, rates are incredibly important to us, and especially me as chair. We have consistently worked very diligently to keep our rates lower. Recently, we had some of our jurisdictions were realizing almost a 20% reduction in their rate for electricity. Right now, it's about a 5% reduction because PG&E just recently reduced their rates because they over-collected. But we, as soon as they did that reduction, we actually met last month and reduced our rates even more. So that's incredibly important. The other thing that we have is our board of directors, just like Valley Clean, is comprised of elected officials. So each jurisdiction that's a member of Pioneer has one seat on our board of directors. There's no weighted votes. The only entity that has more than one seat is Placer County, because they put the capital up for Pioneer Community Energy when we were first established. Otherwise, all of us have one seat and one vote. It's equal. And so that's something else that's very important to us. Our involvement in the community, we're very community centric. We try to purchase power in our jurisdiction. For example, El Dorado County with the irrigation district, we have an agreement, a PPA with them to purchase some of the power from their hydroelectric. So, and we look at that. We also have some PPAs with Placer County Water Agency. So we focus on purchasing that way, and we also give back to the community, and that's incredibly important for us as well. We're engaged with the chambers of commerce. We go to events and so forth, getting out the word and doing education about Pioneer and what we offer for our constituents. But what's great about a CCA is that your constituents, just like mine, have that choice. They can still be with Pioneer, PG&E, but they can be with Pioneer or Clean Energy or whatever entity you want. But it's nice to have that choice. And that's something that we didn't have 25 years ago. You were stuck with what you had. I think, so I'll stop there, but thank you very much for the invitation today, and I appreciate it. Have a good day.
Council member.
Gina.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the council, and city staff. My name is Gina Stassi-Vanacore, and I am the Director of Communications for Pioneer Community Energy. We have provided each of you with a folder of information. There's a lot of information in there, so what I'd like to do is pull out some of the key facts and details that might be most relevant to you. We currently serve 170,000 residential and commercial customers, and our service area has a population of just under 1 million. Dawn and Alice both spoke about the savings that we offer since 2018, $85 million with an anticipated savings of $22 million in 2024. What that equals is about $200 per household per year. Another one of our strategic priorities, in addition to savings, is customer service. We are local. We are part of the communities that we serve. And one of the measures of success is customer satisfaction. And our customer care team is crystal clear about that priority. And one of the things that you should know is when we work with customers, we are not focused on call volume or brevity. What we really look for is working with customers to help them resolve problems regardless of how long it takes. We also are very committed to meeting customers where they are, whether that be on site at field days, at community events, through our website, through our call center, through our chat bot, wherever they are, we will go. Many questions come up about solar. As Dawn mentioned, we have more than 42,000 solar customers. Our program is a bit different than PG&E's. Instead of reconciling monthly, we reconcile annually because we believe that is easier for our customers. We also pay a 1/2 cent premium above PG&E for those customers who are net generators. For those who are net consumers, meaning they use more energy than they produce, they also get the benefit of savings. So either way, our solar customers benefit. As you consider your energy options for the city's future, I'd like to add one last comment, and it's about my role as it relates to communicating publicly. Energy is really complicated, and the dynamics are always changing. I'm really proud that Pioneer has an A+ accreditation from the Better Business Bureau, which really is validation of our operational integrity and our excellence in service. So with that, I thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you, Gina.
We have no additional requests to speak on this item.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Bringing it back to council. We have a decision to make on, I think, city manager provided he's going to provide some more options from what I've heard. I think that helps, giving us more time. My initial request, when I didn't realize there were options, and I also had not had conversations with Valley Clean Energy about such as this, is to also would love to have a presentation from Valley Clean Energy and meet with you. But I also don't want to wait because I do recall, Mr. City Manager, that I did request to see what options we had in the vacant land areas a while back, probably about 2 years ago, and I don't know if you recall, but that was an idea that I wanted to explore, but I hadn't heard back. And I also did not see in any comments about Valley Clean Energy being helpful. But now that I'm hearing a little more tonight on the possibilities, I think that we need to, and hearing from residents wanting to explore more options and taking a look at not just moving forward with one option, but other options as well. And so looking forward to conversing with the community in the next month as we look at the possibilities, especially the one that we are studying. If there's a study that's already been done, this was the request that I was going to make, was that a study be done with Pioneer. And if there is a study being done and we can add on to our study at this time, this may be the approach, is to add on to this study that will be presented to council, and request that the city manager meet with both Valley Clean Energy and Pioneer to take a look at what those options look like as we approach, and I think a comprehensive approach citywide, not just in parts of the city, because I think we need solutions the quickest way possible. So with that, that's the recommendation. I was wondering if council has alternative recommendations.
Well, just to clarify, my recommendation to bring back a workshop would cover kind of the overall, an update on the overall topic of energy affordability and reliability, which has been a council strategic plan topic for probably the better part of 3 years. The item that we were going to bring forward, independent of this, has to do with the study that BCE is doing right now to study a greenfield utility. So again, what I would recommend is to receive that report from BCE and then include that with an update on that option in addition to what other options are out there, including the CCA approach. And then more information just really for the community's benefit, I think, on the history of past attempts at SMUD annexation and what that process both has looked like and the challenges with it today. So it'd be a comprehensive workshop. It would take us some time to put together. So that would be my recommendation, to bring that back. It'd be a date uncertain, but definitely in this calendar year. And it would follow when we receive the report from BCE on the greenfield.
That sounds like a plan. And I appreciate you taking a look at all the options and bringing it back this year. I believe it takes a vote.
I make a motion.
Yes, we usually vote on this now. It's better to just go ahead and take a vote.
We need to make a motion, or can we
Yeah,
just?
you need to take a motion,
Okay,
and
so
then-
I motion.
Councilmember Sulpicio Hall seconded. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Sulpicio Hull.
Aye.
Councilmember Acala.
Aye.
Mayor Guerrero.
Aye. All right, this item is approved for a future agenda item. Thank you so much, everybody. And with that, I think we may adjourn. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you.